already voted. The Electoral Commission hopes to be able to announce the results of the election of additional members of the National Executive Committee on Tuesday, 20th December 2022. The exact time will be communicated. By the adjournment of National Conference, the SGO will brief the media to explain why the adjournment was necessary, that the conference did not engage in organizational and policy discussion with you after the address of the President. The Department of Information and Publicity will organize media briefings to be addressed by the chairpersons and conference engage in qualitative discussions. Because yesterday in our media briefing on the update of the conference, the media did ask what is coming up from the reports of the different commissions. So we'll give you the reports, and then on the 5th of January, we will brief you on the resolutions that will have been taken by the National Conference. Before National Conference adjourns to Friday, the 6th of January, 2023, I hand over to the National Chairperson to guide the adoption of the report of the Steering Committee. Amandla!
Amandla, being a report of the plenary of the conference, any move for the adoption of it? I see a board there from Mpumalanga. I see another one there from Northern Cape. Okay, let's take the first two and then we'll come back.
Yabonga Slalo Chigele. My name is Speedy Mashilo. I'm the Deputy Chairperson of the province of Mpumalanga. I think it is prudent to congratulate the newly elected leadership of the NC, difficult we are faced with, and the progressive proposal made by the Steering Committee. We are indeed a progressive organization. We want to move that we support the proposal made by the General Secretary, the Secretary General of the ANC. We so move as in Mpumalanga. Thank you very much.
Note Cup. Okay. And if we let mic up on game for comrades. I can see now it is the mic system that creates a complication here of everybody going to this one mic. I can see now, it's not a choice of conference. Okay, how do you Northern Cape?
Okay.
Note Cup, yes.
Ngiyabonga usihlalo lo di dirileng re itumetse thata gore re be re fitlheletse re itumetse reporto e tlileng ka mantswe a jalo ke re ya go saluta re lebogile ra amogela reporto e lo re neileng gompieno ka mantswe a jalo ka Setswana ke a leboga.
Of course. For those who didn't understand, he's thanking me for the good work I do. Gauteng. That is move and second, comrade. Gauteng, ideal, I should be asking for a counter if there's a counter, but continue.
Thank you so much, Comrade Chair. My name. We hereby endorse the proposal presented by the Secretary General of the African National Congress and therefore second and support the proposal. Thank you so much, Chair.
Okay. I can see, comrades. Is there any counter to the move for adoption for this? Therefore, if there is no counter, conference adopts that report. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, comrades. What we are going to do now is to go and is going to ask the president to close the meeting, formally deliver the closing remarks.
Mandla. Viva ANC, viva. Viva South African Communist Party, viva. Viva.
I just want to come and say, I love my president. Tia Matamela, Tia. Second term, Matamela, second term.
If you were not a man, I would say I love you too. Viva Kosatu, viva. Malibongwe. Malibongwe. Igama lamakhosikazi. Roar, young lions, roar. Mandla. Deputy President Paul Mashatile, Secretary General Fiki Lembalula, First Deputy Secretary General Nomvula Mkonyane, Second Deputy Secretary Dr. Gwen Ramukhopa, former President Thabo Mbeki. I hear former President Jacob Zuma is not here. Mamutlante. Isitwalandwe Mama Sophie de Brain. Members of the yet to be announced of the newly elected National Executive Committee. Veterans of our movement who have been with us since the beginning of this conference, leaders of the Women's League, the Youth League, the Veterans League, members of the Alliance, as in the SACP and COSATU and their leaders, fraternal parties who are from our continent and region, and indeed observers, distinguished guests, delegates, members of the media, and our choir who are sitting right in front here. ANC National Conference. As you heard, the steering committee has decided and you've approved and decided as conference to accept the proposal from the steering. Continue our work on the 5th of January. This is not unusual. We've held a number of conferences throughout the country, and the reasons have been set out very clearly and put before us. And I'd like to thank conference for agreeing that conference, as it rises again on the 5th of January, will then be followed by the celebration of the 100th in the Free State in 2023. Comrades, this conference has in many ways, at this conference, through the discussions that we have held, both in plenary as well as in our commissions, but they have always sought to unite all of us. And through our deliberations at this conference, values that have been handed down the ages and the years by our forebears. And the path of principled unity. We came from different provinces, different branches, holding different views and indeed different mandates of who needs to be chosen, be pursued. But as always, we've ended up as a united organization, much to the surprise of those who don't wish us well. The tasks that we must undertake in advancing our national democratic revolution. There have been moments at this conference that have tested us. It's going to continue solidifying our unity and our cohesion as the African National Congress. Discipline amongst yourselves as delegates, in that whatever differences amongst us that we may have had, these did not. The branches have spoken by choosing the leadership that will emerge from here. That is the way of democracy. All of us are expected to fall in line and embrace and accept the decisions that have been taken here. Tradition that underpins the founding of our movement has been victorious once again. During our expansive discussions, missions that we had, we have defined the actions that we must take to confront the challenges of the present moment. The great revolutionary Fidel Castro gave a rousing speech on his arrival in Havana following the victory. We are greatly affected by whether we are going to make a good job of this revolution or if we are going to make that one. And he continued, and so we will suffer the consequences of our mistakes, since there are no mistakes which do not affect the people. As the African National Congress, we have made mistakes, and we've had some missteps, and we have paid for. We have been able to pull ourselves back, and we've been able to come back from where many people thought we would stumble and fall forever. Yet to be fulfilled, and that task is building a better South Africa that leaves no one behind. This conference, existence of the African National Congress, than to unite, to mobilize, and more principally to serve the people of South Africa. Us to join the ANC, and there is no other reason for us to seek or accept election to positions of leadership. Mission. The delegates to this conference have discussed proposals that will accelerate radical social and economic transformation. In the interests of our people first, especially the working class and the poor. We have outlined the steps that we must take to build an economy between wealth and poverty, between privilege and disadvantage, between black and white, and between men and women. We have agreed that needs to be made to grow our economy, including incentives, tax rebates, and a compact with the private sector to accelerate in a much bigger way than we have in the recent past. We've also decided that we will embark on a number of other activities. We are committed to supporting the economic development, yes, of our rural areas, through, amongst other things, working together with our pressed impatience at the pace of change, and has given our deployees in government, in parliament and in legislature extraordinary urgency and purpose to implement the proposals that have been emerging in our commissions, which will also be confirmed when we meet again on the 5th of January. This conference sets out the path to a society in which every child receives of the ability to pay. In other words, it is quite clear that the decisions that we have taken in the past to implement the national health insurance have to be speeded up and have to be implemented without any fail. Our deliberations also set out the path of, yes, affordable housing and basic services for all. We realized more clearly that the failure of basic services in various parts of our country have increased the lack of confidence that our people have in the African decisions in January that we must pay attention to service delivery and quality service delivery to be delivered to our people throughout the country. We have also deliberated on the actions that we must take to once and for all redress the original sin of land dispossession, land reform, and to provide support for the productive use of the land. We undertake land reform not only because justice demands it, but because it is necessary, or rather a necessary condition for the growth of an inclusive economy that can realize the potential. This conference has also had thoroughgoing discussions on the safety and security of the people of our country. We have outlined steps to further strengthen our police service and other law enforcement agencies to improve the effectiveness of our criminal justice, that ours must be a police service and not a police force. And we have agreed to overhaul and harmonize our immigration laws to meet the new challenges facing our country. Crime is a problem of society and requires mobilization of all. We must strengthen community policing forums and coordinate more effectively the work of businesses, trade unions, community-based organizations, traditional leaders, women's organizations, youth formations, and faith-based organizations as well, to also be involved in the effort to fight crime. We must mobilize all these formations to be an integral part also of the fight against gender-based violence and femicide. This conference has, through the various discussions, provided guidance on the strengthening of the National Strategic Plan on gender-based violence and femicide, and provided clear direction to our structures and to our deployees in government on further steps that need to be taken to end this pandemic of gender-based violence and femicide. Delegates have said that the future of our country demands that we prioritize the development and empowerment of the young people of our country. In addition to the work already underway, we need to ensure equal access to high and tertiary education and should establish more TVET colleges and technical high schools, and should also be establishing more universities in various parts of the country. This conference has reiterated our commitment to a better Africa and a better world, and the steps that will need to be taken will be further elaborated as we receive the reports of the commissions in January. This 55th conference has placed the position of women, both within the ANC and in society, firmly on the center of our national election. We must welcome the fact that 3 of the top 7 officials elected by yourselves are women. Now, this is great progress, but it is not enough. I am not entirely happy that we have still got much fewer women attending conference as delegates. We need to improve on that and have equal number of men and women in our conferences. We should not rest until we have achieved full equality in all our structures of our movement, equality in terms of representation or participation, and also of opportunity. Comrades, this is something that we need to focus our attention on more closely. That as we set up structures, and even as delegates come to conference, this is an area that we need to watch more closely so that the equality that we speak of must be practiced, firstly by the African National Congress. Our discussions at this 55th conference have taken a firm stance against corruption as well. We have recognized that corruption within the ANC is indeed a dire threat to the continued existence of our organization and to the future of the National Democratic Revolution. We have recognized the great progress that has been made over the last 5 years in tackling corruption within our ranks, within the state, and across society. But we have also acknowledged that we have not done enough to end corruption, to reverse the effects of state capture, and to deal with the corrosive effects of the ANC and institutions across society. We have said that government should consider establishing a vibrant and independent anti-corruption agency as a structure to address issues of corruption across the country. And this has largely been welcomed by people in our country. We've stated our determination at this conference to take all necessary steps to address this problem. We know from our recent experience that such actions can be difficult and they can also be painful. We know that these actions may be met with opposition and that they may increase discord within our own structures. But as this conference, in the deliberations that we've had, has recognized, we have no choice. We either deal with this problem or we perish as an organization. While this 55th conference has paid great attention to the difficulties that confront our nation today, it has also taken time to look towards the future. Our discussions on the Vision 2023 presented here have positioned the ANC as the movement of tomorrow. We have anticipated and are anticipating how our society and our world will change, and we have taken time to envision the organization that will be required to organize and to advance and to thrive in those circumstances of the future. We are not content to merely observe change that will unfold. This Vision 2032 is taking us along a route of setting out a roadmap through which we will contribute to the direction and the pace of social and economic change. This roadmap will outline the work that we must undertake, starting now, to make the ANC an ever more effective agent of fundamental transformation. 5 years ago in this very hall, we set out on a journey of rebuilding, of reuniting and renewing our country. There's a delegate who was present at the 54th conference from the Free State. Soon after we were elected, he ran up to the stage and stood here and said very loudly and clearly to me that, President, we want you to unite the African National Congress. That delegate is here again today, and he has expressed that same wish again, that President focus on uniting the African National Congress. And that is precisely what I see my task as President of the African National Congress, to unite this organization. Since 2017, it has been a difficult journey. We have encountered many challenges in seeking to forge this unity. At times, we've met fierce resistance. We made a number of errors along the way, but we have remained true to the course of the restoration of our movement. This 55th National Conference has confirmed that we are on the right path. But more than that, this conference has made a clear call for greater urgency and greater action, particularly in uniting and renewing the African National Congress. The delegates, as all of you have convened here, you view the ANC as an organization that must be renewed, yes, and must be united. We need, as we move on, to resolve a number of challenges that confront our country, but we also know that we can only confront those challenges if we are a united organization. If the ANC is divided, it will never be able to unite the people of South Africa. If the ANC is divided, it will never be able to build an economy that can create jobs. We need, yes, to act with resolve, to ensure that we address the turmoil, for instance, of load shedding that is taking our economy backwards. We also need to remove the obstacles to faster economic growth and job creation. We need to act against those public representatives and officials who are delaying vital reforms that we need to build a thriving economy. We need to fix our schools and our hospitals, our roads and our water infrastructure. Yes, we need to close those potholes, even as the Secretary General is now moving to a new position from his position as Minister of Transport, where he's been seeking to close potholes. We need to also employ people because they are competent, because they are committed, not because they are connected to other people. We need to professionalize the public service, and the patronage that may have existed in the past should come to an end. People must be appointed because they have the ability, the capability of serving our people, and that must be the standard. And we must show no mercy to those who steal money from the poor, whoever they are and wherever they are. This is the definitive mandate that I have seen and heard emerging from discussions at this conference. And we are bound by our commitment to the ANC and to the people of South Africa to fulfill that responsibility. As we have come to the end of the first part of this conference, as we adjourn this conference and will hold the second and last part in January on a hybrid fashion, we return to our provinces, to our branches, filled with the commitment that indeed the African National Congress must continue to serve the people of our country. And I want to thank those who have done a great deal of work to make this conference possible. It isn't often easy to have a conference of more than 4,600 people. Those who have committed time and effort, and I know that many people have not slept for hours. I want to thank them. I want to thank the Electoral Committee, who also have not slept for hours, making sure that the election process at this conference proceeds well. The technical staff, the marshals, the security officials, and the many service providers, but I also want to thank the donors who contributed to ensure or enable this conference to happen. I wish to thank the media for their coverage of this conference. I got to hear that there were up to 900 media representatives, completely unprecedented to have so many from all over the world. And I wish to thank them for their coverage of this conference, ensuring that all South Africans have an opportunity to follow the proceedings of this very important event in the life of our country. And I wish to thank our alliance partners, representatives of civil society who've been present here, and guests from fraternal organizations and from the international community and from the diplomatic corps who've been with us over the past 5 days. I wish to thank all branch members whose wishes and aspirations have been represented here. For many months throughout the country, tens of thousands of ANC members have been meeting in preparation for this conference. They have elected their delegates, nominated their leadership candidates, and conducted extensive discussions on the policy priorities of our organization. In doing so, they have participated in a historic democratic process that is more extensive. There is none that gets close to the processes that we go through in the African National Congress. Ayikho efana ne-ANC. Lastly, I wish to thank you, the delegates, for having so diligently represented the mandate of your branches and your structure. In my campaigns, I kept saying that to our branch members that they must choose delegates who will, when they come to national conference, stay in conference, not go around partying all over, represent their branches. And I am able to say you all have done exactly that. And thank you very much. Having placed our movement firmly on the path of fundamental renewal and rebuilding, returning to Comrade Fidel Castro's 1959 victory speech, he asked the gathered revolutionaries what they expected to achieve. And he asked, what is just ambition and a desire to command? Was it mansions or to live like kings, he asked, or was it about self-sacrifice, about being willing to give up all and receive nothing in return? Was it about being ready to give up everything and continue on the austere path of the genuine revolutionary? As a movement, we have at many points in recent times conference was to unite our movement, to give momentum to the process of renewal, and to recommit ourselves to serving the people of South Africa. That is what we have done. We are emerging stronger as the ANC, but we know that our work is far from done. Now, and the renewal of our movement is indeed an imperative. This should give us that sense of duty to serve our people, our country, with no expectation of anything in return, but to earn the confidence and the trust of our people. So this national conference has affirmed what the people of this country believe. They also have a deep desire that the ANC should continue living and that the ANC should continue leading. That is what our people desire. Thank you very much. Go well, homewards. Amandla! Amandla! Thank you, comrades.
Amanda, ayibambe comrade, ayibambe njalo. Comrade, can we stand where we are? Because we're now going to sing the national anthem. The choir is here to lead the sing of the national anthem. Let's all be part of sing of the national anthem. Stand up, the men must take off their hats and we sing them.
Free.
Okay. Before you sing another nice song, Nikubula Mos National Anthem. Delegates who have not voted, comrades, all go to get to buses, rushing home. Don't leave without casting your vote. Number two, all the presenters of the various papers that were going to be presented are invited on the stage. They are going to be talking to the media, all of them, so that media can ask as many questions as they want to the presenters of these various commissions. The meeting is adjourned until the 5th of January, 2023. Thank you very much.
Move the National Conference. It's the pause button until the 5th of January next year, Thursday, the 5th of January. The main event, perhaps the President's speech, President Cyril Ramaphosa, talking about how people, he said, our branches have made their voices, all of us have made their voices heard, all of us are expected to fall in line and embrace and accept the decisions taken here. Also saying that employees in government are being told to hasten and to speed up the results of the election for the National Executive Committee, positions there to be announced perhaps today or first thing tomorrow morning. We're not entirely sure what form that announcement will take at this stage. It does bring an end to the proceedings here at Nasrec. The proceedings on the 5th of January will start in a hybrid session, and it's possibly worth noting how different the atmosphere was, as far as we can see at any rate, at the end of this conference from how it was at the beginning, have in fact already left. Well, lots to talk about.